as a king, not as a servant. You know, that is amazing for me to think about, and I hope you all do, and really acknowledge what are you laboring for. You might think it's a game or just words that people say, but look how many lives are changed just for God's word, for Jesus, His Holy Ghost, changing lives. Well, what other name do you think people get healed on? What other name could you say that could cast out a demon, really? What other name do you think you could be healed? There is no other name, man. It's only Jesus. Why is that? You guys ask yourselves that? Like, why is that? Why is Jesus so important? Why do people pray for Him? Why do people get martyred for Him? Why? Because He loves you, man. He loves every single one of you. That's why. He died for us, man. Let's take it seriously and think about that. Let's quit playing games, man. We could die tomorrow. The Bible says today is the day of salvation. Think about that. Someone could come in and shoot all of us, and you should be scared of that, because if you're not right with God, man, you will live your whole life regretting not accepting Him, and He will show you how many times He sent people, how many times you heard His word. And like a little baby, when you take out His candy, you will cry just as bad as He is. And you will be tortured. And you will be in darkness, separated from God. You might even cry to God, but that feeling is no longer there. You will be empty. You'll be gnashing of teeth. Gnashing of teeth is like, hard pain. I don't know if you guys ever had gnashing of teeth before. Or when you're sore or something. Or getting whipped or beaten. I mean, when I was a kid, I got disciplined with the belt and then gnashed my teeth. But imagine feeling like that for like eternity. An eternity, man. All that for what? A little piece of flesh joy? Just for a little high? Just for somebody to say, hey, man, you did it. You slept with all these girls. Oh, yeah, I dated all these boys, whatever. All that for what? For people who don't even care about you. People who won't even hand out their hand to help you out, and truly, or if you broke, you'll realize that most people are very selfish. They do not care about you. We live in a very selfish world, and we try to believe, the human nature is nice and good. Really? Is it really nice? Look at your news every day. People are dying. People are getting raped, murdered. And that's just in America, people. Imagine in other countries, it's just as bad. This world is a fallen world. And if there was a time where we needed God and salvation and renewal of our mind and forgiveness, it's now. It is now. It ain't tomorrow. It ain't last week. And it comes to a point we have to make that choice. How many of you people think God has grandchildren? He doesn't. That means all of us have to come to faith. All of us have to make that choice. Our grandparents can make that for you. Your friends can make that for you. Your girlfriend, boyfriend can make that for you. Your dog can make that for you. You have to come to that decision and realize what is worth laboring for. My own selfish needs, my own desires. At the end of the day, even if you had all that, you would still feel empty and cry yourself to sleep because no one loves you. You don't feel real love in your heart. All that can be washed away by the blood of Jesus, man. It may sound simple and easy, but salvation can happen instantly. A walk of faith takes your whole life. And it's not easy laboring for Christ. You will be mocked, ridiculed, made fun of. On my job, there's people who just talk about work, and I say something else, they just leave and avoid me because they know I'm a Christian. Sometimes I mention scriptures to them, but when they're hurting, and they're empty, and they're struggling with something with their family, guess who they're going to come and see? You think they're going to come and talk to the drunk guy who has a bunch of Twitter likes or whatever? What does he have? What answers does he have? What answers do the youth have if they don't know Christ? What can you guys tell people? Honestly, who are suffering, who are dead, who are feeling, people who will experience a funeral, what answers can you tell them? You say, well, maybe. The world doesn't move on maybe. Businesses don't make profit with the maybe. Jesus doesn't say, just, oh, well, maybe I'll accept. No, the Bible says, let your yes be yes, your no be no. Don't be in between. Don't be double-minded. Make up your mind. Think about your life right now. If you don't have Christ, is your life really that good? Is it really that cool to pursue it? Are you really having a good old time? You know, in the Bible does say there is a season where sin is fun, but it'll quickly vanish. And you look at your legs and feet like, oh, I have chains now. I'm enslaved to this. I cannot leave this no more. Well, you cannot break away from that. I'm in bondage now. I have addictions now. I look at people differently. I have anger issues. I have this and this and that. Whole heap of problems. All that for what? Just for us to say, oh, I had a good time. You really think that's what people are going to say as they go to hell? I doubt it. All of it's worth it, sleeping with all those girls for my whole life to be punished and being sorrow my whole life and having gnashing of the teeth. Does that sound like a good trade? To have a little joy and live your whole life everlasting, because your soul does not perish. It's everlasting. Is it worth it, everlasting? Regretting it the whole everlasting time? Is it really worth it? Living your whole life regretting it? At work, I work at the Motel Vado, and we have these food pots. Food pots are like little food restaurants. And I was walking because I work at two separate motels, and I have to cross the street. And I remember seeing this young man, and he has a backpack. He looks like a heavy metal kind of guy. And he was sitting down like this. And in the corner of his feet, I saw like a beer bottle. And I told him, dude, what is that? I really said like that because I was concerned. Because he's drinking in public. You get arrested for that. You could lose your job. You could lose a lot of credibility in your workplace. And I explained to him my testimony, and I told him, dude, I've been there, bro. I know what it's like to drink, to crave it, and just to live for it. I told him, it's empty, though, dude. It'll destroy you, just like it'll destroy all of us. There's not one alcoholic that says, I'm happy. Have you met him? Yeah, probably when he's drunk and intoxicated, but after you think he's happy? Really? I don't think so. You know, but then I told that young man, told him my testimony, and I told him, think about this though. I personally don't know you, but I care about you and I love you, and I care about your soul. If a man, I'm just a flesh carnal man, myself, can love you and care for you that much, how much more do you think God loves you? Think about that. And it's just like a sprinkle of love. Imagine His love is everlasting, ever pouring. Not just a little sample of that. And I hope that that helped that man, because I haven't seen him since, though. You know, just sitting there drinking in the morning, like, I think it was like 8 o'clock, and he was waiting for work at 11. For 4 hours, he's just sitting there smoking and drinking. And I saw myself there, like, wow. It reminded me, like, wow, well, God really delivered me from that. And I saw myself in his eyes. He said he self-medicated because he had anxiety, depression. And I thought, what do you think all that stuff comes from, dude? Because inside of your heart, there's an emptiness, and you're trying to replace it or fill it with alcohol, drugs, or whatever. But yet, even if you fulfill that emptiness still gets bigger and bigger and bigger and gets worse. I'd like to share with you guys a news article I got from work. It's a while back. I don't recall how long ago it is. But it's from I don't know if you guys remember this kid named Jeremiah. He was killed by a household member, and he's put in a little, I forgot what to call it. I lose the word. But he put dogs in a crate. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Wait a minute. I'm gonna please. Sorry if I start choking, because it was hard for me to read this by myself. I'm sure it's going to be hard just reading in front of you guys. So please, don't make fun of me. So it says, So the title is Jeremiah's sister tells court how her brother was killed. In the state, Santa Fe witness in the Santa Fe court hearing Wednesday described the horrors of living with Thomas Ferguson, that's the man who killed Jeremiah, who they subjected household members to savage beatings and even forced them to beat one another. That's proof of evilness. It was hard, said a 13-year-old girl who was part of the household in Nambi, where her elder brother was killed last year. It was not fun. He was always angry and always being mean to everyone in the house. He would take his anger out on all of us. He would hit us or hit the dogs. Her testimony included a first-hand account of her brother Jeremiah Valencia was killed in November at age 13. The testimony came during a hearing that ended with Judge Matthew Wilson determining that Ferguson's son, Jordan Nunez, 20 years old, now the prime suspect in Jeremiah's death, is a danger to the community and will be held in jail until his trial and his charges are otherwise resolved. And it continues to this long page. Jeremiah's mother, Tracy Ann Pena, who's 36 years old, also faces several charges of child abuse, tampering with evidence, and conspiracy for Jeremiah's killing and disposal of his body. But she was not in court Wednesday. District Attorney Mark Lucerna has confirmed that a plea deal is in the works for Pena. Ferguson, Pena's boyfriend at the time of Jeremiah's death, also faced charges and was previously pegged as the individual who carried out the killing, but he committed suicide at age 42 in the Santa Fe County Jail in April. Jeremiah's sister, nearly a year younger than her brother, said in court Wednesday that Nunez killed Jeremiah on November 26 by flipping several times a dog crate that the boy was locked in. Court documents have said the boy was tortured with various implements and forced to stay in the cage wearing a diaper. Documents say Ferguson forced Nunez and Pena to help bury the body in a shallow grave off New Mexico 508 near Nambe. Santa Fe County deputies learned of the killing when Pena spoke about it while being held in the Santa Fe County Jail in late January on unrelated charges. On the day in late November that Jeremiah died, the girl said she and Ferguson were about to pick up Pena up from jail when Ferguson got angry at Jeremiah and locked him in a dog cage. Pena was being held for failure to make a court appearance on one of her almost routine minor criminal charges. Jeremiah eventually fell asleep, she said, and Nunez began flipping the cage to wake him up. She said that Nunez pulled Jeremiah out of the cage and that Jeremiah's head was kind of dangling. He never woke up. The girl said Jeremiah, who had allegedly been tortured with brass knuckles, a homemade spear, a 5-pound hammer, and a shot collar, was in bad shape the day he died. He was really skinny and all his cuts were infected. He had a black eye and his tooth was knocked out. She said, the teen said that she had previously been forced to watch as Ferguson poked Jeremiah with the spear in Ferguson's bedroom. She also said Ferguson made Pena abuse her son when he didn't want to do it. The girl said Ferguson also made